I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades completely for free. I live stream on Twitch.
You move through the world and the world demands explanations. Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? And so, like a man caught in a storm, you scramble to justify yourself. But have you ever noticed? The more you explain, the more they question. The more you defend, the weaker you seem. And so the game goes on, a dance of words that leads nowhere. Consider this. Does the sun explain why it shines? Does the river stop to justify its course? No, they simply move, effortless, indifferent to the opinions of those who watch. And so should you. The man who knows himself does not beg for understanding. He does not plead for approval. His presence alone is enough. When he acts with certainty, not because he is seeking validation, but because he is in harmony with what must be done. Others may chatter, speculate, and attempt to pull him into their web of words, but he remains unmoved, like a mountain untouched by the winds. And yet many waste their breath trying to make others see, trying to prove their worth, trying to make sense of themselves in the eyes of those who do not matter. But what is there to prove? What is there to explain? A lion does not apologize for its roar, nor does a storm pause to ask permission before it rages. When you move in silence, something strange happens. The world begins to notice. They wonder. They speculate. They feel the weight of your presence, not in your words, but in your actions. There is a power in mystery, a strength in restraint. The one who speaks too much reveals his uncertainty. The one who speaks little leaves them guessing. And in that space of the unknown, true influence is born. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your time, your energy, your power. Most people live in a constant state of performance, forever justifying, forever seeking to be seen in a certain way. They explain themselves to friends, to family, to strangers who will forget them by morning. They offer their reasons as if the world is a courtroom and they are on trial. But who is the judge? Who is the jury? And why should their verdict matter? A real man does not argue his worth. He does not seek permission to be who he is. He moves with certainty, guided by something deeper than the opinions of those around him. He does not speak to please, nor does he explain to satisfy someone else's curiosity. The need to explain is a need to be understood, and the need to be understood is often just another form of seeking approval. But why do you need approval? What does it give you? Does it make you stronger, freer, more at peace? Or does it simply chain you to the expectations of others? People are uncomfortable with silence. They prod, they poke, they demand an explanation for why you are the way you are. But the more you explain, the more power you give away. You invite scrutiny, you invite doubt, and worst of all, you create an opening for others to question what should never have been questioned in the first place. If you are firm in your path, there is no need to convince anyone of it. Think of the men who hold true power. Do they beg to be understood? Do they rush to clarify themselves when others misinterpret them? No. They let their actions speak. Their results declare what words never could. Silence unsettles people. It forces them to wonder. It makes them curious. And in that curiosity, they hand over their attention, their energy, their thoughts. A man who moves in silence understands that words are often wasted. The world is filled with voices, all speaking, all shouting, all desperate to be heard. But those who truly command respect do not waste themselves in this endless noise. They know that power is in restraint, in selectivity. They know that by saying little, they say more. When you do not explain yourself, you make others work to understand you. They must observe, they must think, they must guess. And in that guessing, in that effort, they invest in you. They wonder about you long after the conversation has ended. They replay your words, searching for meaning. They fill in the blanks with their own imagination, and often what they imagine is far greater than anything you could have said. But beyond the effect you have on others, moving in silence is about something far deeper. It is about mastering yourself. When you feel the urge to explain, to justify, to seek validation, ask yourself, who am I speaking for? Who am I trying to convince? If you know what you are doing, if you are certain in your steps, what does it matter what others think? There is freedom in letting go of explanation. There is strength in walking away from conversations that demand you to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's understanding. You do not need to be understood to be real. You do not need to be approved of to be right. Silence does not mean inaction. It does not mean passivity. It means moving with intention, with precision. It means speaking only when there is something worth saying. It means not wasting breath on those who have already made up their minds. People will demand answers from you. They will insist that you explain yourself. They will pressure you to give them something to grasp onto. But you owe them nothing. The more you explain, the more you surrender. The more you justify, the more you invite resistance. A man who is sure of himself does not waste time trying to change the minds of those who were never meant to understand him. He does not lower himself to the level of endless debate. He does not beg to be seen in a certain way. He simply is. You must decide. Do you want to be heard, or do you want to be felt? The loudest voices in the room are often the weakest. They shout to cover their own insecurity. They explain because they are afraid of being misjudged. But a man who moves in silence does not fear misjudgment. He knows that what others think is their burden to carry, not his. Watch the difference in how people treat you when you stop explaining. Notice the shift in their energy when you refuse to hand over your power with unnecessary words. They will become more attentive. They will lean in. They will pay closer attention to what you do rather than simply listening to what you say. This is the power of silence. And when you master this, you will find that you have no desire to explain. You will not even think to do so, because you will have outgrown the need for it entirely. When you stop explaining yourself, you remove yourself from the endless loop of validation seeking that consumes so many. The need to explain is rooted in the fear of being misunderstood, in the fear of rejection, in the desperate attempt to control how others perceive you. But control is an illusion. No matter how much you explain, no matter how carefully you craft your words, people will only ever see you through the lens of their own experience, their own biases, their own limitation. A man who moves in silence understands this and refuses to play the game. He knows that explanations do not change reality. They only dilute his presence. If you are confident in your path, why seek permission to walk it? If you are sure of your actions, why beg for agreement? The moment you explain yourself, you lower yourself, placing your worth in the hands of others, asking them to validate something that was never theirs to judge. Consider how the most respected figures in history carried themselves. Did they waste time explaining their every move? Did they pause to justify their decisions to those who would never understand? No. They acted, they built, they created, and in doing so, they commanded attention without ever demanding it. You must understand the nature of human perception. People are drawn to mystery. They are fascinated by...
Ready to invest like a pro? With Robinhood Legend, you can quickly build custom layouts and get real-time data updating at sub-second intervals. Trade on your terms with after-hours trading available 5 days a week. Robinhood Legend is a free, intuitive trading platform that can help you take your investing to the next level. Click below to learn more about Robinhood Legend.
what they cannot fully grasp. When you reveal too much, when you explain yourself at every turn, you remove the mystery. You become predictable, ordinary, just another voice in the crowd. But when you hold back, when you let your actions speak louder than your words, you become something different, something people cannot quite define, and that is where true power lies. To move in silence is not to be passive, it is not to hide, it is to act with precision, to choose your words carefully, to understand that your presence alone is enough. A man who does not explain himself is a man who respects his own time, his own energy, his own path. He does not waste himself on endless debates. He does not hand over his power in the form of justifications. He knows who he is, and that is enough. Look at those who spend their lives explaining. They are constantly drained, constantly pulled into conversations that serve no purpose, constantly trying to change the minds of those who were never meant to understand them. And in doing so, they weaken themselves. They spread themselves thin. They exhaust themselves in the pursuit of approval. But a man who moves in silence does not seek approval. He does not need it. He knows that his value is not determined by how well he can explain himself to others. It is determined by his actions, by his discipline, by his ability to move forward without hesitation. When you stop explaining yourself, you begin to notice something strange. People start paying closer attention. They start wondering, they start watching. Your silence makes them think, makes them question, makes them respect you, in a way that words never could, because words are cheap. Anyone can say the right things, can weave the right explanations, can craft the perfect story to justify their actions. But action is undeniable. It cannot be debated. It cannot be twisted. It stands on its own, solid and immovable. This is why a real man does not explain. He acts. He allows his presence to do the speaking. He lets his results be his proof. He knows that those who matter do not need an explanation, and those who demand one were never going to understand in the first place. There is also a deep peace that comes with moving in silence. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of external validation. You no longer live for the opinions of others. You no longer shape your decisions based on what will be most easily accepted. You move according to your own inner compass, unshaken by the noise around you. Many will not understand this. They will mistake your silence for arrogance, for secrecy, for indifference. But their perception is not your concern. You do not exist to be easily understood. You do not exist to be explainable, to be reduced to a simple, digestible version of yourself that others can accept without question. You exist to move forward, to grow, to build, to become, and none of that requires explanation. When you stop explaining yourself, you step into a new level of self-mastery. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to realize how much energy you have been wasting on unnecessary conversations. You begin to see that clarity does not come from being understood by others. It comes from understanding yourself. And when you reach that point, when you truly embody this, you will find that you no longer have any desire to explain. Not because you are hiding, not because you are avoiding, but because you simply do not need to. There is a moment when a man realizes that speaking too much, explaining too much, is a form of self-betrayal. He begins to see that every time he justifies himself, he hands over a piece of his power, a fraction of his certainty, a sliver of his strength. He starts to notice how people who explain too much are often the weakest in the room. They defend themselves before they are even attacked. They search for approval before they have even acted. They fear being misunderstood more than they fear being powerless. But what does it really mean to be misunderstood? It means nothing. It changes nothing. A man who is sure of himself does not care if he is understood, because his truth does not depend on the comprehension of others. The river does not stop flowing because someone does not understand its path. The wind does not change direction because someone questions where it leads. And so, why should you? There is a certain discipline required to move in silence. It demands restraint, not just of speech, but of the ego's constant need for validation. It is the ability to sit with the discomfort of being questioned without feeling the urge to answer. It is the ability to let others assume, let them wonder, let them talk, all while you continue forward, untouched, unbothered, unstoppable. This is not about arrogance. It is not about shutting the world out. It is about recognizing the weight of your words and choosing not to spend them carelessly. A man who speaks too much dilutes his presence. A man who explains himself too much invites doubt into places where there should be none. When you watch the strongest men, the ones who move move with real presence, you will notice something. They do not explain, they do not seek to prove themselves, they do not beg to be understood. They say what needs to be said and nothing more. And in that restraint, there is a power far greater than anything found in long-winded explanations. People will test you, they will challenge you, they will try to provoke you into explaining, into justifying, into proving yourself. They will ask why you do what you do, they will demand that you make them understand. But a man who moves in silence does not fall into this trap. He knows that explaining is a form of surrender. It is an invitation for others to question what was never theirs to question in the first place. He does not flinch in the face of curiosity. He does not rush to fill the silence with words. He lets the moment stretch. He allows others to sit in their own uncertainty. And in doing so, he remains in control. Silence is not emptiness. It is not weakness. It is presence. It is depth. It is the unshakable confidence of a man who does not need to be understood to be certain of himself. When you explain yourself, you are playing someone else's game. You are entering a battle that does not need to be fought. You are accepting the premise that your actions require justification, but they do not. If they are true, if they are necessary, if they are in alignment with who you are, then that is enough. There is a natural order to things. The lion does not explain why it hunts. The mountain does not justify why it stands tall. Nature does not defend itself against the opinions of those who do not understand its ways. It simply is. And the more you embody this, the more powerful you become. Watch how people react when you stop explaining. At first they may be confused. They may push harder trying to draw an answer out of you. But over time, they will begin to sense something different. They will see that you do not move like others. You do not react like others. You do not waste yourself in the same way they do. And in that difference, they will begin to respect you. Even if they do not understand you, they will feel your presence. They will sense that there is something deeper beneath the surface, something they cannot quite grasp. And that mystery will hold their attention longer than any explanation ever could. This is how you create an aura of strength, not by talking, not by convincing, but by being. By allowing your presence, your discipline, your unwavering certainty to do the speaking for you, you will notice that as you stop explaining yourself, you also stop doubting yourself. The two are connected. The need to explain comes from insecurity, from the hidden fear that maybe you are wrong, that maybe you need others to confirm your path. But when you let go of that need, something shifts. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to walk with greater certainty. You begin to move with the quiet confidence of a man who knows he is exactly where he needs to be. And when you reach this point, words will seem unnecessary. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you have nothing to prove. Those who understand will understand. Those who do not never mattered. A man who moves in silence is not detached from the world, nor is he indifferent to it. He simply refuses to be controlled by it. He understands that explanations are for those who doubt themselves, for those who have not yet made peace with the reality that not everyone is meant to understand them. When you know where you are going, when your direction is clear, you do not stop.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Apple Card is everything a credit card should be.
Stop to ask for directions from those who have never walked your path. Most people fear silence because it forces them to confront the unknown. They fill every gap with words, with noise, with endless explanations meant to secure their place in the minds of others. But a man who has mastered himself does not seek security in the opinions of others. He knows that their understanding of him is not required for his journey to continue. He does not explain because he does not need to. His certainty is his foundation, and that foundation is unshakable. When you stop explaining yourself, you will notice how uncomfortable it makes people. They will push, they will prod, they will attempt to provoke a reaction. They want a response, an explanation, a confirmation that you are just like them, bound by the same insecurities, trapped in the same need for approval. But when you refuse to play that game, when you stand firm in silence, they are left with nothing to hold on to. They are forced to deal with their own uncertainty, their own discomfort. And in that moment, they realize that they cannot control you. This is why silence is feared. It is not emptiness, it is power. It is the mark of a man who does not rely on words to establish his presence, who does not seek validation through conversation, who does not give away his strength in the form of endless justifications. A man who moves in silence carries himself differently. He speaks when necessary, but never to prove himself. He does not waste words, nor does he waste energy on those who demand explanations that will change nothing. When you move this way, you become unpredictable, you become unreadable, and in that you gain an advantage. The world is full of people who give themselves away too easily. They talk too much. They reveal their fears, their weaknesses, their doubts, without even realizing it. They try to be understood because they do not fully understand themselves.
Please don't scroll.
But the man who moves in silence does not fall into this trap. He knows that his path is not up for discussion, that his choices do not require approval, that his strength is not something to be explained, it is something to be lived. As you embrace this way of being, you will find that your words begin to carry more weight. When you do speak, people listen, they lean in, they take note. Because your silence has made your words valuable, when you do act, people pay attention because you have not wasted energy on explaining your intentions, you have simply executed them. This is the difference between a man who is truly in control of himself and one who is at the mercy of others. The first moves with purpose, unshaken by the opinions around him. The second constantly explains, constantly justifies, constantly seeks reassurance that he is on the right path. But the truth is, the right path is not something others can confirm for you. It is something you must walk, alone, in silence, in certainty. People will misunderstand you, let them. People will question you, ignore them. People will expect explanations from you, deny them. Your life is not a debate. Your choices are not open for discussion. Those who truly respect you will not need explanations. They will recognize your strength in the way you carry yourself, in the way you act, in the way you remain unbothered by the noise around you. And that is where true freedom begins. Not in being understood,
Sometimes rock climbers need to remove loose rocks that could be dangerous. Sometimes rock climbers need to remove loose rocks that could be dangerous.
there comes a moment when you realize that the strongest move is not to speak, not to explain, not to seek understanding, but simply to be. A man who moves in silence commands respect without demanding it, builds without announcing it, and rises without permission. He does not chase validation, nor does he waste himself in endless justifications. He knows that those who matter will see, and those who do not were never meant to. In a world drowning in noise, silence is power. In a world obsessed with being understood, mystery is strength. Walk your path with certainty. Let your actions speak. Let your presence be felt. And above all, never explain yourself to those who do not deserve an answer.
Every senior in the United States.
Imagine transforming your financial future in just 100 days. My team and I are on a mission to create 10 millionaires, and we want you to be one of them. We're launching a free WhatsApp group designed for 1,000 top stock traders, where you'll gain exclusive access to cutting-edge AI-driven trading tools. This isn't just about trading, it's about learning and proven strategies that can maximize your profits and connecting with a community of elite traders who will inspire and support you every step of the way. This is your chance to leverage technology and take control of your financial destiny. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers. Click the link below and join us today. Your journey to financial freedom starts now.
I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the word I myself? I don't think there can be any more fascinating preoccupation than that, because it's so mysterious, it's so elusive. Because what you are in your inmost being escapes your examination in rather the same way that you can't look directly into your own eyes without using a mirror. You can't bite your own teeth, and you can't touch the tip of this finger with the tip of this finger. And that's why there's always an element of profound mystery in the problem of who we are. This problem has fascinated me for many years, and I've made many inquiries, and there is a certain consensus about this, a certain agreement, especially among people who live in Western civilization. Most of us feel I, ego, myself, my source of consciousness, to be a center of awareness and a source of action that resides in the middle of a bag of skin. And so we have what I have called the conception of ourselves as a skin-encapsulated ego. Now, it's very funny how we use the word I. We don't say, I beat my heart, in the same way as we say, I walk, I think, I talk. We feel that our heart beats itself, and that has nothing very much to do with I. In other words, we don't regard I myself as identical with our whole physical organism. We regard it as something inside it. And most Western people locate their ego inside their heads. You are somewhere between your eyes and between your ears, and the rest of you dangles from that point of reference. It is not so in other cultures. When a Chinese or Japanese person wants to locate the center of himself, he points here to what Japanese call the kokoro, or the Chinese call shin, the heart, mind. Some people also locate themselves in the solar plexus. But by and large, we locate ourselves behind the eyes and somewhere between the ears. We speak of coming into this world. And this whole sensation that we are brought up to have of being an island of consciousness locked up in a bag of skin, facing outside us a world that is profoundly alien to us in the sense that what is outside me is not me. This sets up a fundamental sensation of hostility and estrangement between ourselves and the so-called external world. And therefore, we go on to talk about the conquest of nature, the conquest of space, and view ourselves in a kind of battle array towards the world outside us. Now, actually, it is absolutely absurd to say that we came into this world. We didn't. We came out of it. What do you think you are? Supposing this world is a tree. Are you leaves on its branches, or are you a bunch of birds that settled on a dead old tree from somewhere else? Surely, everything that we know about living organisms from the standpoint of the sciences shows us that we grow out of this world, that we, each one of us, are what you might call symptoms of the state of the universe as a whole. But you see, that is not part of our common sense. Western man has for many centuries been under the influence of two great myths. When I use the word myth, to me the word myth signifies a great idea in terms of which man tries to make sense of the world. It may be an idea, it may be an image. Now, the two images which have most profoundly influenced Western man are, number one, the image of the world as an artifact, like a carpenter's table or a jar made by a potter. Indeed, in the book of Genesis, there comes the idea that man was originally a clay figurine made out of the earth by the Lord God, who then breathed into this clay figurine and gave it life. And the whole of Western thought is profoundly influenced through and through and through by the idea that all things, all events, all people, all mountains, all stars, all flowers, all grasshoppers, all worms, everything are artifacts, and they have been made. And it is therefore natural for a Western child to say to its mother, "How was I made?" That would be quite an unnatural question for a Chinese child, because the Chinese do not think of nature as something made. They look upon it as something that grows, and the two processes are quite different. When you make something, you put it together, you assemble parts, or you carve an image out of wood or stone, working from the outside to the inside. But when you watch something grow, it works in an entirely different way. It doesn't assemble parts. It expands from within and gradually complicates itself, expanding outwards, like a bud blossoming, like a seed turning into a plant. But behind our whole thought in the West is the idea that the world is an artifact, that it is put together by a celestial architect, carpenter, and artist, who therefore knows how it was done. Because as we have, in popular theology, understood the Lord God, He is the mastermind who knows everything. And if you ask the Lord God exactly how high is Mount Whitney to the nearest millimeter, He would know exactly like that and would tell you. Any question. The Cosmic Encyclopedia Britannica. Unfortunately, this particular image or myth became too much for Western man, because it was oppressive to feel that you are known through and through and watched all the time by an infinitely just judge. Everywhere is this eye watching, and judging you, so that you always feel you're never really by yourself. But the old gentleman is observing you and writing notes in his black book. And this became too much for the West. It became oppressive. They had to get rid of it. And so instead, we got another myth. The myth of the purely mechanical universe. This was invented at the end of the 18th century. It became increasingly fashionable throughout the course of the 19th century and well into the 20th century, so that it is today's common sense. Very few people today really believe in God in the old sense. They say they do, but they really hope there is a God. They don't really have faith in God. They fervently wish that there was one and feel that they ought to believe that there is. But the idea of the universe being ruled by that marvelous old gentleman is no longer plausible. It isn't that anybody has disproved it, but it just somehow doesn't go with the vast infinitude of galaxies and the immense light-year distances between them and so on. So instead, it has become fashionable. And it is nothing more than a fashion to believe that the universe is dumb, stupid, that intelligence, values, love, and fine feelings reside only within the bag of the human epidermis. And that outside that, the thing is simply a kind of a chaotic, stupid interaction of blind forces. Courtesy of Dr. Freud, for example, biological life is based on something called libido, which was a very, very loaded word. Blind, ruthless, uncomprehending lust. That's the foundation of the human unconscious. And similarly to thinkers of the 19th century like Ernst Haeckel, even Darwin, T.H. Huxley, and so on, there was this notion that at the root of being is an energy. And this energy is blind. This energy is just energy. And it's utterly and totally stupid. And our intelligence is an unfortunate accident. By some weird freak of evolution, we came to be these feeling and rational beings, more or less rational. And this is a ghastly mistake, because here we are in a universe that has nothing in common with us, doesn't share our feelings, has no real interest in us. We're just a sort of cosmic fluke. And therefore, the only hope for mankind is to beat this irrational universe into submission and conquer it and master it. Now, all this is perfectly idiotic. If you would think that the idea of the universe as being the creation of a benevolent old gentleman, although he's not so benevolent, he takes a sort of, this hurts me more than it's going to hurt you sort of attitude to things. You can have that on the one hand, and if that becomes uncomfortable, you can exchange it for its opposite. The idea that the ultimate reality doesn't have any intelligence at all. At least that gets rid of the old bogey in the sky, in exchange for a picture of the world that is completely stupid. Now, these ideas don't make any sense, especially the last one, because you cannot get an intelligent organism, such as a human being, out of an unintelligent universe. The saying in the New Testament that figs do not grow on thistles nor grapes on thorns applies equally to the world. You do fungus or slime on the top of the whole thing, but we're thinking in a way, you see, that disconnects the intelligence from the rocks. Where there are rocks, watch out. Watch out, because the rocks are going eventually to come alive, and they're going to have people crawling over them. It's only a matter of time. Just in the same way as the seed, the acorn, is eventually going to turn into the oak, because it has the potentiality of that within it. Rocks are not dead. You see, it depends on what kind of attitude you want to take to the world. If you want to put the world down, you say, oh, well, fundamentally it's only just a lot of geology. It's a stupidity. And it so happens that a kind of a freak comes up in it which we call consciousness. And that's an attitude that you take when you want to prove to people that you're a tough guy, that you're realistic, that you face facts, and that you don't indulge in wishful thinking. It's just a matter of role-playing. And you must be aware of these things. They are fashions in the intellectual world. On the other hand, if you feel warm-hearted towards the universe, you put it up instead of putting it down, and you say about rocks, they're really conscious, but a very primitive form of consciousness. Because after all, when I take even this crystal here, which is glass, and go, well, it makes a noise. And that response, that resonance, is an extremely primitive form of consciousness. Our consciousness is much more subtle than that. But when you hit a bell and it rings, you touch a crystal and it responds, inside itself, it has a very simple reaction. It goes jangle inside, whereas we go jangle with all sorts of colors and lights and intelligence, ideas and thoughts. It's more complicated. But both are equally conscious, but conscious in different degrees. That's a perfectly acceptable idea. See, all I'm saying is that minerals are a rudimentary form of consciousness, whereas the other people are saying that consciousness is a complicated form of minerals. What they want to do is to say everything is kind of blah, whereas what I want to say is hooray, life is a good show. Now then, as we study man or any other living organism and try and describe him accurately and scientifically, we find that our normal sensation of ourselves as isolated egos inside a bag of skin is a hallucination. It really is. It's absolutely nutty. Because when you describe human behavior, or the behavior of a mouse or a rat or a chicken or anything you want to describe, you find that as you try to describe its behavior accurately, you must also describe the behavior of its environment. Supposing I walk, and you want to describe the action of walking. You can't talk about my walking without also describing the floor. Because if you don't describe the floor and the space in which I am moving, all you will be describing is somebody swinging his legs in empty space. You couldn't see me unless you could also see my background, what stands behind me. See, if I myself, if the boundaries of my skin were coterminous with your whole field of vision, you wouldn't see me at all. You would see my bright red vest instead. That's why I put it on this evening, to demonstrate this point. And that would be the thing that filled your field of vision, that was the thing standing there. You wouldn't see me, because in order to see me, you have to see not only what is inside the boundary of my skin, but you have to see what is outside it too. Now that's terribly important. Really, the fundamental, ultimate mystery, the only thing you need to know to understand the deepest metaphysical secrets is this: that for every outside there is an inside, and for every inside there is an outside. And although they are different, they go together. There is, in other words, a secret conspiracy between all insides and all outsides, and the conspiracy is this: to look as different as possible, and yet underneath to be identical, because you don't find one without the other. Like Tweedledum and Tweedledee agreed to have a battle. Note that, agreed. So there is a secret. What is esoteric, what is profound, and what is deep is what we will call the implicit. What is obvious and on the open is what we will call the explicit. And I and my environment, you and your environment, are explicitly as different could be. But implicitly, you go together. And this is discovered by the scientist when he tries, as the whole art of science is to describe what happens exactly. And when he describes exactly what you do, he finds out that your behavior is not something that can be separated from the behavior of the world around you. He realizes then that you are something that the whole world is doing. Just as when the sea has waves on it. All right, the sea, the ocean is waving. And so each one of us is a waving of the whole cosmos, the entire works, all there is. And with each one of us, it's waving and saying, yoo-hoo, here I am. Only it does it differently each time, because variety is the spice of life. But you see, the funny thing is, we haven't been brought up to feel that way. Instead of feeling that we, each one of us, are something that the whole realm of being is doing, we feel that we are something that has come into the whole realm of being as a stranger. When we were born, we don't really know where we came from, because we don't remember. And we think when we die, that's just going to be that. Some people console themselves with the idea that they're going to heaven, or that they're going to be reincarnated, or they're going to Summerland or something, you know. People don't really believe that. For most people, it's plausible. The real thing that haunts them is that when they die, they're going to sleep and never going to wake up. They're going to be locked up in the safe deposit box of darkness forever. But that all depends, you see, upon a false notion of what is oneself. Now, the reason why we have this false notion of ourselves is, as far as I can understand it, that we have specialized in one particular kind of consciousness. Being very general and rough, we have two kinds of consciousness. One I will call the spotlight, and the other the floodlight. The spotlight is what we call conscious attention. And that is trained into us from childhood as the most valuable form of consciousness. When the teacher in class says, "Pay attention," everybody stares and looks fast at the teacher like that. That's spotlight consciousness. Fixing your mind on one thing at a time. Concentrate. And even though you may not be able to have a very long attention span, nevertheless you concentrate. You use your spotlight, one thing after another, flip, 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 like that. But we also have another kind of consciousness, which I'll call the floodlight. For example, you can drive your car for several miles with a friend sitting next to you, and your spotlight consciousness will be completely absorbed in talking to your friend. Nevertheless, your floodlight consciousness will manage the driving of the car, will notice all the stoplights, the other idiots on the road, and so on, and you'll get there safely, without even thinking about it. But our culture has taught us to specialize in spotlight consciousness, and to identify ourselves with that form of consciousness alone. I am my spotlight consciousness. My conscious attention, that is my ego, that is me. And very largely we ignore the floodlight. Now the floodlight consciousness is working all the time. Every nerve end that we have is its instrument. You know, you can go out to luncheon or something and you sit next to Mrs. So-and-so, and you go home and your wife says to you, "Was Mrs. So-and-so there?" "Yes, I sat next to her." "Well, what was she wearing?" "I haven't the faintest idea." You saw, but you didn't notice. Now, because we have been brought up to identify ourselves with the spotlight consciousness, and the floodlight consciousness is undervalued, we have the sensation of ourselves as being just the spotlight. Just the ego that looks and attends to this and that and the other. And so we ignore and are unaware of the vast, vast extent of our being. People who by various methods become fully aware of their floodlight consciousness have what is called a mystical experience, or a cosmic consciousness, or what the Buddhists call bodhi, awakening. The Hindus call moksha, liberation, because they discover that the real deep, deep self, that which you really are, fundamentally and forever, is the whole of being. All that there is, the works, that's you. Only that universal self that is you has the capacity to focus itself at ever so many different here and nows. So when you use the word I, this, as William James said, is really a word of position, like this or here. Just as a sun or star has many rays, so the whole cosmos expresses itself in you, in you, in you, in you, in you, with all the different variations. It plays games. It plays the John Doe game, the Mary Smith game. It plays the beetle game, the butterfly game, the bird game, the pigeon game, the fish game, the star game. Just like these are games that differ from each other, just like backgammon, whist, bridge, poker, pinochle, or like waltz, mazurka, minuet, and so on. It dances with infinite variety. But every single dance that it does, that is to say, you, is what the whole thing is doing. But you see, we forget it. We don't know. We've been brought up in a special way so that we are unaware of the connection, unaware that each one of us is the works, playing it this way for a while. And so we have been taught to dread death, as if that were the end of the show. It won't happen anymore. And therefore to be afraid of all the things that might bring about death, pain, sickness, suffering. And if you don't know, you see, if you're not really vividly aware of the fact that you are basically the works, you have no real joy in life. You're just a bundle of anxiety mixed up with guilt. Because you see, when we bring children into the world, we play awful games with them. Instead of saying, "How do you do? Welcome to the human race. Now, my dear, we are playing some very complicated games. And these are the rules of the game we play. I want you to understand them, and then you learn them, and then when you get a little bit older, you may be able to think up some better rules." Instead of being quite direct with our children, instead we say, "So here you are." It was a nasty baby anyhow. You're here on probation, you understand that? And maybe when you grow up a bit, you'll be acceptable. But until then, you should be seen and not heard. You're a mess. And you've got to be educated and schooled and whipped until you're human. So that these attitudes which are inculcated into us in infancy go on into old age. The way you start out is liable to be the way you finish. So people going around fundamentally feeling that they don't belong. Because their parents said to them in the first place, "Look, you don't really belong here. You're here on sufferance. You're on probation. You're not a human being yet. And people feel this right on into old age. And so they figure that the universe is presided over by this awful kind of God the Father parent, who, yes, has our best interest at heart, is loving, but who spares the rod, spoils the child. Whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. So everybody's sort of, when's it going to hit next? And so don't feel that they belong. So we get this ghastly, what I call Christian ego. It's a little bit Jewish too. Who really feels that he's homeless, he's an orphan. Even the Christians say we are sons of God by adoption and grace. Not real sons, but by adoption and grace and sufferance. And so comes the sensation, you see. So characteristic of Western man and indeed of all highly civilized people. Of being a stranger in the earth. A momentary flash of consciousness between two eternal blacknesses. And therefore, in constant contentiousness with everything around you, not only with other people, but with the earth, with the waters, and the symbol of it all in our culture is the bulldozer. Where I live, aboard a ferry boat, there is opposite us, across the water, or was opposite to us, some lovely hills. They are going to put houses there. But they are going to try and put the sort of houses you would find in a suburban tract lot, on a hill of all things. Because a good architect can make a house fit the hill. He doesn't have to destroy the hill to put a house on it. And if you want to live on a hill, obviously you want to live on a hill. And you don't want to destroy the hill by virtue of living on it. But that's what they do, especially in California. Because Texas is kind of flat, and they don't have to do that kind of thing. But in California, where we've got lots of hills, they always scrape the tops off them till they're perfectly flat. Then they put houses on, and then they scrape them off in terraces all the way down. They upset the ecology of the hill, and eventually all the houses fall down. And so what? But by that time the payments have been made. But that's because the builder doesn't feel that the external world is his own body. It is. The external world is your own body extended. So he, instead of going up to the hill and saying, "Good afternoon, I very much want to live here, and I would like to know what kind of house you would like to have built on." An intelligent architect always does that. Instead of that, he has a prejudice about what kind of a house is a house. And he has to make the hill submit to this prejudice. So he has to ruin the hill and get rid of it, pretty much, then put the house on it. He's absolutely out of his mind. And he's out of his mind because he doesn't realize that the external world is his body. When he realizes that, he'll get his mind back.
Trade your favorite crypto assets at one of the lowest costs on average.
Robinhood offers advanced trading tools to help you stay ahead of the crypto curve.
Sign up for Robinhood today.
Okay, everybody, this has been Alan Watts. I don't know if there's any more to this. Yeah, that's the end of it. So the external world is your mind. That's the big takeaway. It's almost like a Gnostic hypnosis. Let's see if we can call my friend Reverend Scott.
Thank you.
The people who didn't agree, Alex, Ty, Scooby Dude, Roscoe, Lou, and Maddox.
So did Jazzy, did David, did they all change their names for a day?
No one did.
Yes.
David, you said you changed your name for a day?
Oscar was in the winning team, by the way.
No, I didn't do that.
You didn't, okay. So no one else did, Abby. Why are you always...
No, he did. He did.
I guess maybe Aiden did. Maybe if that.
Yeah, one person. So like, why come in and just up there?
No, not one person. People did, except Rick.
So Jazzy did?
You're making it seem like no one did. Because
Jazzy did also. Yes,
Abby
Jazzy
decided
did.
that she was.
No, I remember
You have to
Jazzy did
choose
also.
what everyone changes their name.
What was her name?
Who?
Jazzy's name. What was David's name?
I forgot, but she did change
They
it.
didn't change
I remember. She changed it for one day. She did.
You need 3 years to drill it in your fucking head. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and do the research on the Google machine, and then I'll get back to you.
I'll tell you this, I didn't take an ethics course in my undergrad program because I didn't get through far enough into my undergrad program to end up getting into that class. What I would say, though, is
Wait,
that...
you didn't graduate?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But
I mean, it seems like everyone keeps saying they didn't change their name.
No,
but it just doesn't seem like...
Because it wasn't a real
everyone
bet.
did
It was just a joke.
Because David is sticking up for Rick. It doesn't mean everyone else did.
What, did you have proof?
Keegan, I told you what happened. Abby thinks she's like able to lead and organize, but she's not.
I'm not a bookie.
Welcome back to another episode of Low IQ Dumb People Who Talk About Nothing and Waste All Their Time! Starring Keegan, Chief Organizer of the Morons, wasting their time. Dr. Keegan, how does it feel to be the chief moron now of a crew of morons? Congratulations, Dr. Keegan. You're fixing cars. You're earning a living. Your wife is going to Africa. Brad is going to fuck all of you. How does it feel, Dr. Keegan? Hello?
Wait.
What's their names? What's their new names? Did they change their names? Are you going to spend 10 minutes talking about this? I got shit to do. Let's move on with the show. Hurry up.
Longer. It's been like 20.
I agree. I agree. I've been trying to move on, but...
You know that.
Well, you're not trying very hard to.
Right?
No, I mean, we're just trying to, let's be logical and rational about this, and it just doesn't seem like we are.
Anyway, we can move on.
Abby's mad because, can I be honest, Abby? This just seems like a feud between you and Rick because you don't really like
It's not a
Rick.
feud. You're listening to David and Rick teaming up against me, and you believe in it.
No one's teaming up against you, Abby. I'm just asking questions.
In the end of the day, this bet was made
Abby.
clear. It was clear, and
You can just say we disagree to disagree. Just say that.
Yeah.
He changed his name. Jazzy changed her name. Everyone who was losing their
These are all allegedly, but maybe they did.
And all of a sudden it's everyone?
everyone except Rick. That's what I was.
I want to welcome you all back to another exciting episode of How Low IQ Dumb People Waste Their Time and Talk About Nothing!
It's okay, Rick.
John, how are you? Edmund,
Not everyone can always be in power over admin and be a bookie.
I don't know. I feel ashamed because it's like I'm recording the drama, and a lot of this with Diogenes and the $1,000 bet and you and Brad and Jazzy. This is a toxic dance, Keegan. I don't know you personally, but I know you're an American, and I can just tell you that these dumb fucks on this app, they're toxic. These international non-English ESL students like Dr. Abby, this fat ass, and Diogenes, and everybody else is retarded. This is the stupidest content anyone could ever create, and it's you guys creating it. I'm recording it, but you're creating it. Look in the mirror.
Let's go.
For the record, I do not consent to being recorded.
Well, you were in the room, so you consent.
No, the point is, Dr. David, Dr. Keegan, Dr. Reed.
6 times.
But not her. But she was like the exception. The one girl.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one time,
He had 4 daughters. One of his daughters showed up. She needed a place to stay for the night. So he took the 3 girls that were locked up, and they were naked, chained together, and he walked them out and then made them sleep in a van for the night. He sounds like half a clubhouse.
Oh my god.
I'm crying. Nice. Oh, look who came back. Evan. Come on back, guys. Come on up.
I mean, it is late at night in Australia, so he's probably drunk.
I'm not drunk. I just opened my first Miller High Life.
It's not always about you.
No, it's not about me. It's about you. When you're the super moderator, you're the teacher. So if you have an audience, it's your responsibility to be responsible.
Did you take that picture in your PTR?
That's how they say yes in Australia.
Yeah, that's me in a Pepe mask with an infinity gauntlet and a Trump MAGA hat with an American flag.
I just think you're so funny for like it's so creative and funny that you did that. You know, it's flipping off the just everything that you do, John, is creative and it's thought out and it's
Well, when you have a lot of time,
it shows the high intelligence that you have.
when you have a lot of time and you spend your money on props, this is comedy or artwork. Some people don't like what I'm doing. You know, the fact that you're on all these YouTubes, but nobody even watches it. I can't even crack 5,000 subscribers. So it's like, what do you care? If you're worried about being recorded and a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, like, what are you worried about?
So here's my question, John. Why then spend the energy
if
on
you're not
recording
getting any results?
I don't know. I think there has to be long-term value in the videos because think about Clubhouse. Most of this isn't even recorded, but yet I'm able to extract like the best part of Clownhouse. So I'm actually creating long-term value. This app has no long-term value.
Yeah, but your moment to shine was when Noda got arrested, and you didn't even leverage that.
Yeah, it feels like you're like.
You should have had a whole bunch of clips lined up where Noda was speaking in a room. You should have used their name in the titles and just promoted it across social media, but you never did.
I know, but see, that would require, maybe more intelligence or assistance or effort. But you guys got to realize this is like a reality television show.
Just say I'm lazy and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm lazy.
If you were nicer to me and if we were friends, I would put you in contact with my social media guy and he could have done it for you.
Listen, if anybody wants to join this party, I mean, all we have to do is create a room. If you want to cut,
social media guy to use my
No. I said I wasn't not gonna.
Okay.
See, David, that would require actual organizing, and you've never seen anyone actually organize on this app. It's so decentralized. Everybody is like semi-retarded or autistic.
Yo, so this is a good segue for me to tell Egan the true story of that bet and how.
Oh my lord.
It should have been each person was matched up with someone else on the other team, and whoever won, that person chooses the other person's name. That would have been like a solid, fun bet. But that didn't happen. It turned into the winning team chooses the losing team. So, one sec, don't interrupt. That's not how it You heard it in the notes. It was the winning team chooses the losing team. We weren't paired up. The paired thing you just made up. You just made that shit up. What? The paired up. I know we're paired up with another person. Someone was organizing it. But that's not what you said when you opened up this statement. You said, let me tell you how to win. Can you move him down until I finish? He's not going to stop it.
Ryan's not going to. He's not going to.
He can't help it.
Go ahead, Ryan.
If he interrupts me, probably.
I'm moving you down.
The way it should have been, if someone like who is a good leader / organizer / wants to actually think things through, we would have been paired up. And, there was a list of people, could have easily been paired up. But that didn't happen. It was just the winning team chooses the losing team. So, yes, San Francisco lost. And I guess what happened is like, all right, what should I change my name to? Kike. Okay, I'm not doing it.
Ping.
That's what happened.
What is it?
It was a fun idea that was not executed ideally, and it's okay. It was still fun, and it was like, it's not the end of the world. But to spin it as like, well, someone doesn't pay the rent, it's like, okay, sure. But that is
we were all just in the room, just like spitballing things around. Like nothing was official, so I don't know why she's making it seem like it was like official.
I don't know. The drama is over, like there's been maybe 3 to 10 major drama moments on this app, and it is like a fucking television show, and no one has ever really gotten hurt.
Can you give us the top 3, Doctor?
One was originally with KB and that one chick, whatever her name is, who called somebody.
Oh, that was great.
What was it? What's that chick? She's still on this app. I still see.
That was when I
What's her
first
name?
I came on the app to that, Doctor.
MG.
I was forced to choose sides before I knew who anyone was.
Is she the one that doxed his picture or no?
No, it was like
somebody posted a picture of like what he really looks like.
And then the second one. The second one is probably like Alex New York, Ann, and Monica, and then also with the MG is his name is Amari, I think.
Alex New York, he's the one that's in the.
Was there any good Ali Alexander drama? Is that a top 5?
The Ryan met Alex.
Yeah, the fact that he was on here holding court as as just like a speaker, because he wouldn't even let people on his stage, right? And he would just do his monologue, and that was it.
That's what he does. He goes on Periscope or used to, and now Telegram. That's his thing.
Ryan told us.
What's wrong with that?
No, I don't know. I've never seen him ever since Clown House. I've never seen a video of him ever since.
No, I would imagine since the allegations and stuff came out, he probably decided to like stay out of the limelight and probably get a job in real estate or.
I would also say that when Andrew Meyer was on this app, I had a recording of him drunk on Purim, and that was on a YouTube account that got YouTube terminated it, and those recordings were pretty damning for Andrew Meyer. But nonetheless, like he was, he was on this app. His recordings are interesting because it's like pure, ego and like attacking. You know what I'm saying? Like just. But in a funny way, like you're stupid, like, just you're stupid kind of things. Not like I'm going to attack you. See, when people make death threats on this app, that takes communication to a whole nother level. And so when you can record communication of people making death threats, that's the worst internet communication anyone could ever put out there. And everything can be broken down into a 2 to 3 second clip. And when you play that shit, it destroys credibility. So like, this is like
just like Brad.
Yeah.
I could have Brad saying the N-word.
Have sex with Keegan's daughter.
Yeah, I found it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't.
That's been being played of him talking about you and like how it starts off where it starts off. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, it starts off in like going. When your daughter turns 18, I'm gonna blink her in and I'm gonna
See, but this is the thing is like the fact.
What is the thing about it? It's trying.
You got to look at this in terms. You have to look at this in terms of the fact that like no one gets hurt when somebody makes a death threat. So like when that person hears that recording, they're actually like ashamed that they act that way. And so this is.
Did you find where he said the N-word, Keegan, or no?
This is like their therapy or reverse engineering, and they actually come here to maybe get that help because they can't get that help in the real world. But on an app like this, it's technically like a medical device technology company. He's getting dopamine from screaming death threats.
Okay.
Plus your wife still faded by right.
Yeah, he also said that. Do you guys?
Whether
Does everyone want to hear the clip of Brad saying the N-word?
Yes, play it.
All right, let us play the clip, because then it also gets Doctor to possibly get kicked off of YouTube, so we can get Two stones at once here.
No, you know who gave me a community guideline strike recently was Zach Ruda.
2 birds, not 2 stones.
YouTube sided with me in the appeal.
What did Zach Ruda say?
I don't know if it was him or somebody else. I didn't actually watch the whole clip, but he's the first speaker in the video.
Gotta find this clip.
Jackie, right now, when you say those things, when you say those things, when you say those things,
Ooh, yeah, he definitely said it.
Dude, I totally might have skipped through that if I listened to it.
But what do you say to the accusation, Keegan, when he says your testicles haven't descended and you have a nasal voice?
Let's work through it. Let's work through it. Let's face some people.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
See, this gossip is fun.
Are we gonna bathe?
Yeah, give T-Rex the green bean.
What do you think about roasting? Are you going to play a clip or what?
No, I already played it.
You already played it.
That's it? That's all you had to play?
Well, there's more, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's more stuff, but I just had the clip of him saying the N-word.
Oh, I didn't even hear him say the N-word in that clip.
You want to say nigger?
Exactly. T-Rex, go ahead and say it a few more times.
Apparently, Keegan says it all the time, too. Apparently. Who said that? You said that all the time?
See,
Just every black person on this app.
See, this is where you lose me as an audience. You know, roasting an individual is the best part about Clownhouse. I can play a Jazzy Room live right now, and you can listen to what Jazzy's talking about. And what I'm telling you is you devolve to a Jazzy when you start using N-word because time is so limited. There's so much fantastic information out there. If you're just going to create N-word rooms or J-word rooms or Z-word rooms or K-word rooms or, N-word rooms, I don't know, like, that's on you. Is that how you want to spend your life?
Well, this is the white version, so this would be technically a cracker room.
Okay, so the C-word rooms, the A-word rooms. Listen to these Australians. No, you wonder why they got massacred at Gallipoli? Listen to him. This is what their brains are like. They're not fast people. Listen to T-Rex.
Hang on. Why you got massacred?
Kif Halek Habibdi, it's my wife, the Galilean princess, the Botox queen.
Appreciate everyone.
Lip filler, the lip filler queen.
You consider your shit empirical.
So let's just give you a rundown of what I think the dialectic is, right? So like it started off, and I thought maybe I was wrong, but I thought they made the claim that Jews control certain sectors.
No, nobody.
I know. Let me back this up. Concrete made the original claim. Then we moved on to the claim that Jews have outsized influence in these sectors. That's always and so far from the original claim, guys. No, that's always. I don't know why you keep filibustering me, right? Because like if you allow me the nature of the anti-Jew conversation, right? Because Concrete's original claim was that the Jews create unnecessary barriers to entry in certain industries. Then we started talking about that. We broke it down. He wanted to focus on the one that was the law school necessary. Yeah. Samoa, relax, bro. Samoa, relax. I know where we're at, but we've devolved to this point. We've devolved to this point because we've never really addressed the actual claim on the table that the Jews created an unnecessary.
Welcome back to another low IQ J-word room. They kicked me.
So JB, like some of my family in Peru, they're like governors and mayors and like chiefs of the police and generals and stuff. So like they would tell me stories about like the prisons and stuff like that. They're not very nice to the prisoners.
Yeah.
What about those prisons? What about what those prisoners are going through in El Salvador? God bless Donald Trump. Send them all there.
Yeah. Go home. No, I'm joking.
You know,
I'm just joking, JP. I'm sorry.
I liked what he said. The terrorists that are bombing like Teslas. Send them there too. Yeah. If they're a terrorist, they're a terrorist.
They're gonna get 20 years in prison. I don't know which prison, but they're going away. What's up, Edmund?
Yo, in Chicago, they'll get no cash bail. They'll be out in 3 days. They got murderers, rapists that get out in 3 days in Chicago or less. No jail time and no cash bail. They let them right back out.
That could be a federal crime if they're considered terrorists.
And no cash bail doesn't always mean they get out. It means sometimes they can't bail out and they have to wait to their court date. So it's not just, we're letting people out because there's no cash bail.
Well, it also depends on the charge. Like,
right.
I can guarantee you, Edmund, and I say this respectfully, they're not letting rapists and murderers on the street with no cash bail.
Dude, they are. I could send you article after article after article. I'm not making this up. I could send you at least 3 immediately.
Okay, post it in the chat, please. Thank you. I love the value you bring to the room.
The thing is, the articles are all tied to judges that request to be reassigned after something goes bad. And I'm not making this up. I mean, I look at the news here in Chicago.
Okay, post it. We believe you if you post the article, we can confirm it. But from what I understand is that no cash bail does not just mean that they're letting people out for committing heinous crimes. You have to sit and you cannot bail out because they don't want rapists and murderers on the street.
That's not true in Chicago. The way they did it, Jazz.
Oh God, bro.
But I can.
I
can't give you no pushback, huh?
I feel bad.
What I'm saying is,
the rest of the nation.
Wow, and like you're still talking over me when I was trying to push back.
I'm a moderator.
You know. Yeah, and you're a dumb bitch.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, Don, be respectful.
No, I love it.
Yeah, fuck Jazzy.
Yeah. Isn't this the guy that just got like domestic violence charges?
Who, Doc?
Yeah.
Whoa.
How can he have a domestic violence charge with no bitch? Hello?
Domestic violence can also be with your family members as well.
Who is
that? Trust me, Jazzy. You the bitch.
You don't got no family, pray?
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
This is according to him. He said he doesn't have any family.
Well, it's not funny. It's a sad story. It's a sad story.
Hell wrong with you. Anyways, back to the conversation at hand.
Wait, really quick, parliamentary inquiry. JB, I just wanted to say that, did you see that Chicago mayor only has like a 4% approval rating?
Yeah, she's
the Beetlejuice looking woman, she's gone. But they got this new guy, it's worse.
Well, I'll tell you what, whoever the mayor of Chicago is not much farther ahead than the mayor of Boston, I can tell you that.
Yeah. The Asian lady, she's terrible too. Terrible.
Hey, Valley, long time no see.
It's funny, the only sane one is Mayor Adams, and he's getting kicked out. And they're going to bring in Cuomo.
I mean, that's why women shouldn't be leaders, but you know what I mean?
I would almost bet like 99% chance that Cuomo's the next mayor of New York.
Oh, he's definitely the next mayor of New York. Val, you're a leader. Jazzy's a leader.
No, I'm a leader in my own home, but I would never be a leader outside anywhere else.
Why not?
Because I just shoot everybody for being so stupid.
Well, maybe that's what we need to get done. Maybe natural selection isn't killing the stupid people off quick enough.
But it is, because now people have to go through IVF to have babies, and then they become retarded, you know?
Now we got retarded people giving birth to retarded kids. Does that really actually sound good for society? You gotta clean up the people.
No, it doesn't, but I'm okay with it because, the lower they are, the higher I get, you know?
Yeah, that's why they have the blue bloods. You know, you gotta keep the bloodline pure.
Val, let me ask you a question. So you want to turn the world into like Hunger Games, only the strong survive?
Oh my gosh, yes, that'd be so great. But I need to get stronger as a person, you know?
No.
So, like, I need to weight lift better, for sure.
Nothing to be having her for me in a minute, bro.
But, like, mentally, I'm strong. But physically, we could definitely use work.
Yeah,
I haven't heard from you in a minute, Jay. What's up, buddy?
What the fuck is that? Is
It's,
Craig from
John
KLC?
Greek
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you remember me now. I was about to say, damn, I hope you didn't treat me like a Jehovah's Witness.
No, I just want to know. Everyone changes their name, and I haven't been on, so I get really
I know,
nervous
it's
to
been
say
a while.
anything.
It's been a while, yeah.
Are those the guys that come to your door and drop off a Bible?
Yeah,
or like
it's
the
kinda like
pamphlet
Mormons,
and all
but
that,
they're crazy.
yeah. But it's
Val,
good to see you, Valley. I hope.
I thought Jehovah's Witness are Mormons. No?
No. How's your business, Val?
It's good. I saw a red thing on there, but it's good. I need to make more soap, but I got a personal assistant job, and then I've been sick, and it's just been a hot mess, honestly. But hopefully I'll get back soon. It really sucks when you're sick. You really can't do much besides just cook in your house, you know?
You know, I actually want to talk to you about something, Val, but I don't think
Go
this
ahead.
is
I have my DMs open.
Yeah. I'll have to message you about
Yeah. Are you still in the OC?
person. Yeah, crazy, yeah. But I think you.
No, like, are you in Orange County still?
No. I just recently moved to Atlanta.
Somewhere else?
Yeah, I just moved to Atlanta.
Oh, you did?
Yo, Craig, why Atlanta?
Oh.
Because like I signed this deal with Sony, so I've been out here for music.
Oh, God.
Nice.
You better be careful, Sony, bro.
No, I know. I'm not getting.
Hey, what's wrong with Sony?
The big money.
Well, they're having. They're always having beef.
You know, they hacked Sony's emails, and the CEO, I don't know if he's still the CEO, but like all his emails became public. I was looking through his emails, like he had usernames and passwords, like all his, it was like all his personal emails and business emails. It was amazing. And
yeah, it was like the CEO and the CEO would email each other saying that, you know, that Angelina Jolie is a real bitch.
But I heard she is a bitch, though. I ain't gonna lie. I heard she's not like a nice person.
Yo, Craig, now that you signed a contract, you gonna stop using your big mic?
Well, if you notice, I haven't been on here as much. So, yeah, I am slowly backing away from this app. You know.
so wait, no more bang rooms? I mean, that's the most unique, crazy sound you could ever possibly hope to hear. I mean, have you ever had like your brain put in a blender?
Well, I mean, I just decided to make my brand into a clothing brand. So now I got people in Europe, Italy, Canada, and all that wearing Keep Hanging Out. So that's just what I just decided to do with it instead.
Well, I think that's a smart move, but I will say this, man. Sincerely, I enjoyed your rooms. I think you're an OG on this app, and I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that, man. Most definitely. Yeah, but y'all just follow me on Instagram. Sure, y'all can keep up with me. Because like I said in my bio, once this account gets clipped, I'm out of here. That's it. I'm not making another account.
Once a smoker, always a smoker.
Wait, what's your Instagram? Do you still have the same? I lost one of my I couldn't find the password.
Yeah,
the sweet salty bitch one. I don't know the password anymore.
Oh yeah, that is the one that I follow. Yeah, it's Cray. It's CRAY_OC.
Okay, that's what I follow.
That's your IG, Cray_OC.
Yep.
Yeah, the voice of Orange County.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see you.
I like Laguna Beach and San Clemente. I like those two towns I've seen.
Until you meet the people in Laguna Beach, you won't know.
Laguna Beach isn't even the same anymore now.
It's never the same. I watch all their kids there, and they're all fucking like faggots. I hate them all.
But you know, Laguna Beach now is all like Asian and like like Indian and shit. Like a lot of those white people that used to be there are not even there no more.
No, it's not even an art town anymore. It's like how much Sephora money you got to spend on your stupid kids kind of town. Like it's stupid. They literally like these middle schoolers literally went and this guy in middle school in Laguna stabbed another guy with a pencil the first day of school. I was like, you retarded. What is wrong with you people? Orange County is not the same anymore. And the cities in Orange County, they're all getting sued because there's not enough housing because the governor is like, you need to have more housing. So now all these cities are getting sued until they put new housing, which is bringing more gang members and all this other shit.
I don't know about California, but I'll say what, Craig. Whoever that girl is with the green hair, she's flying.
Green. Oh, that was a photo shoot I did for Black Youngster a while ago. I know you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. In your, because I peeked into your IG real quick. In your IG, I don't know who it is sitting there with 2 stacks of money. Did a lot of women start sliding into your DMs once they saw that money?
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually me. But that was for like a photo shoot I did for that company because I got sponsored by them, so that was like a part of the rollout.
I'm sure your DMs blew up.
Yeah. It was a good day. It was a very good day.
So, Craig, you're an OG on Clubhouse like myself and Jazzy and a few others. Who would you say, after all these years, was the biggest fake and fraud on this app? What's up, Donnie?
The biggest fraud? Ooh. Damn.
Well, you know people come on this app and they front. I gotta go play the helicopter, mansion, all this bullshit.
I think for me it would probably have to be what's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. President Ola. You remember Ola?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I think his was definitely the worst because you know how he talked about how he was this rich African that comes from money. He was this ex-NBA player and all this and that till he hurt his back. No, none of that was true. What was actually true was, yes, he did play basketball. He did injure his back, but he never went to the NBA or nothing like that. He doesn't come from money. I actually know the guy that actually sponsored him to come to America. Like, I actually personally know him. He lives in a roach-infested apartment with rats, all types of rodents. A lady went to his premises, took pictures, and actually helped him exterminate some of those rats and rodents and roaches and all that. So yeah, so he gets on this app calling everybody broke, saying that black women need to leave black men and to date Africans like him because he is rich and black men, such as myself, live in poverty.
Oh man,
I think
that's funny.
Yeah, so I think he probably might have to be the biggest fraud to me.
I'll tell you what, when I was doing Catch a Con, to me the biggest fraud. But if this dude made money with both hands on this app. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Gary Henderson. He was the crypto king of Clubhouse.
Oh, I do remember him. Yep.
With the giraffes. Bro, that dude straight up con man.
What's good, gang?
I see his X account, but I mean, I never. Yeah, I mean, how much money do you think he's made or his net or like? Did you actually follow his website or try to like actually analyze his communication?
No, but I'll tell you what, Edmund. What I think he made is just a guess, probably 2 or 3 million. Because remember, he did crypto, then he went to NFTs, and then he went to coaching. He did the natural progression of con men. Once the money dries up in one area, you go to the next. But I didn't follow him. I didn't have to because so many people were coming to me saying this dude took my $5 grand, this dude took my 12 grand. Too many people were talking about it. But I remember very specifically when he started getting into coaching, he was making $20,000 a week. And that I know for a fact. Getting these dummies on this app to pay for his coaching.
You know what's funny, Jay? Like, I spent a good amount of time in Bitcoin Clubhouse. And I would say like 99% of the time, they don't even talk about crypto. They don't talk about Bitcoin. They talk about like other bullshit.
Those rooms are just like people working at their, laptop, but you have real characters that go in there as well. But it's all just vanity and flash. It's all just pompous bullshit about nothing. There's no real education. And it's all just people, low IQ, dumb people talking about nothing, wasting their time.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about like very cool things they've done, basically, and ways of spending a lot of money, basically. I hear a lot of those stories.
A lot of them are just Bitcoin maxis that they're sitting on fucking Bitcoin that they bought 10 years ago, so they don't really have to do anything. So they do have the time. And that's one thing that I didn't really understand about people getting coaching. It's like, are you fucking retarded? Like, you can't really make money off of Bitcoin in the way that you want to unless you have a shit ton of capital. I mean, you can make a good return after like a year or 2 years, like an okay return. Like, if you put 100K, you're probably gonna make $20,000 for that over a year. But it's like, it's not like a get rich scheme anymore because he came in too late. There's no way to beat time or the early adopters.
You just have to realize that the publishing industry is the back end of everyone, and that Grant Cardone or Ty Lopez or Billie Jean Marketing or Tim Sykes Penny Stock Millionaire is always essentially a publishing industry. Buy my book, buy my videos, buy my club membership. That's it. It's the same thing with fucking Cobra Tate. It's always the same thing. It's a subscription and content and access to a platform and videos and books, and that's it. And maybe you could, stroke me live on the internet sometime.
Well, let me just say this. I'm not looking to trigger anybody. I don't know if you're friends with the name I'm going to bring up. I definitely don't want to smoke with Craig. But one of the biggest con artists that I ran into, and he actually called me offline and asked me to get off his back because I was calling him out. I don't know if you guys know Crown Royal. No?
You talking about Crown King?
No, Crown Royal. And
okay, yeah.
He used to run with
that's not he wasn't my friend like that, so you ain't got to worry about it.
Well, he used to run with Honey Shakur until she caught on. He was a con man. This dude sold a book on here, Edmund. And then when people bought the book, there was only one chapter, and that chapter was stolen from another author. He just copied and pasted it. But this dude made a lot of money. True story, I swear, Craig. And I started calling him out on that shit. And I don't know how he got my number. I didn't care because he's in Brooklyn, I'm in Brooklyn. I'm like, bro, I'll meet you right now. I don't give a fuck. I ain't one of these frauds.
You want to know the biggest problem? This girl named B. Simone did that too. Do you remember, Craig? She made that self-help journal, and it was copied from. Yeah, what they're doing is contracting people. And remember, all those people were on Clubhouse in the beginning too. Like, oh, let me upscale your business, or let me help you start an ebook. And they were stealing other people's books and just selling it to these other people. And of course, they don't know. They're not cross-checking to make sure this stuff is not. Like, all you have to do is type it in on the internet and see if it's.
Well, look at our friend Diego, Robert Taylor. I mean, he had an actual business. Actually doing essentially, cash to Bitcoin, Bitcoin to cash. I mean, pretty smart, but brought down by Alvin Bragg. I mean, which is insane. And allegedly.
Well, the issue with Diego was he didn't report his money to the IRS, and his machines weren't licensed.
Let's not talk about it.
But it's totally legal what he did to turn your money into Bitcoin.
I know, I agree. And that, I bet you that's why he spent so much money going all the way to a jury trial, which is very expensive. And, unfortunately, he lost. But God bless him.
So, on the other end, so Jay, go ahead, sorry.
He never got sentenced for some weird reason. He's still free. I don't get it. But,
yeah. He probably snitched on somebody.
Yeah, listen, or he's on Clubhouse gathering data for them.
Look, man, and let's not forget, I had a rule, talking about how Clubhouse works with the police. So there's actually, if you go on the Clubhouse website, there's a portal for the police to go to request rules types of stuff, you know. Yeah. So and also on the Clubhouse Transparency Report, it also hey Kiana, it also talks about how many people have been subpoenaed through Clubhouse.
I agree, John.
You know, whether if it was in the United States or overseas, you know, so whether if it was and it breaks down from local law enforcement to FBI. So it actually
They have to comply. If they didn't, they'd have to go to court, and it would cost them hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars.
Exactly.
It's a snitch app.
And let's not forget, bro, season 1 of Clubhouse, there was all types of people on here. It was really, really big. And Clubhouse was worth a lot of money back then. Remember, Twitter wanted to buy Clubhouse. And Twitter, and you know, and Clubhouse.
Facebook, Mark
Twitter,
Zuckerberg made an offer.
Exactly. They all wanted to buy Clubhouse. They told them no.
But I heard a billionaire owns this app. A billionaire owns this app.
Listen, this app is not monetized. So hear me out. The only way
they use our data. They use our
they're selling the data.
That's why you should.
Yeah, they are selling the data. And guess who's the primary buyer of all the data?
The U.S. government.
There you go, because they pay for all the cloud that Microsoft takes in. All these major ad data brokers work with the biggest ad platforms like Microsoft, Bing, Google Ads, YouTube ads, everything. The biggest advertiser sellers, you know, buy data that comes out of this app. And you know why? It's, in my opinion, it's low quality bullshit data. But because these fuckers that run this stupid app, they've got all the connections and they're more than happy to buy the data at a premium.
How do you think all these applications came out with such amazing voice recognition technology? You remember when they changed the back channels from? You remember when they changed the back channels from actual text to the fucking speech shit, and then it was transcribing? And you remember when it first came out? If you listen to like something that you would type out with your words, if you had a pretty old Clubhouse account and you pressed on it, it would actually repeat what you typed out in your own voice, even if you didn't say anything. And the voices were actually pretty accurate. And when this was first coming out, a lot of, you know, civilians and plebeians, they're like, oh, I miss the old Clubhouse. I miss the old Clubhouse. But as a person who used to work in tech sales and has like a little bit of an idea of the industry, I was like, this motherfucker is brilliant. He's brilliant because this isn't about you. This is about forming a technology that he can fucking sell to other people. Like the voice recognition technology on this app is pretty fucking amazing. And everyone kept saying that the app was dying. But then when I was going on Brazilian Clubhouse, Jewish Clubhouse, Korean Clubhouse, there's rooms with people from other countries that are literally 2,000, 3,000 people. African Clubhouse, every single country has their own Clubhouse clique. And it's thousands and thousands of people. And they're on this app for hours and hours and hours a day. It's actually very, very high quality data.
Yeah, but remember there was something below the fold where you could access international Clubhouse? Now you can't see international Clubhouse.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Jazzy, this is to you. Maybe you could teach me. What's the use of buying data? Like, what kind of data are they selling?
Well, see, like me and Jazzy were talking about Eddie V's Steakhouse, right, the other day. So now they know I was talking about it. They know that she was talking about it. So now they can serve me ads about other steakhouses in her area.
Well, I think the main thing is they're selling data. Like, for example, El Normo's hand is black. Why is his hand black? I think they're deciding what race people are. I think it's just basic demographic information that they're selling. I also think they're selling information like what Craig said. They have a Clubhouse transparency report, right? They're reporting people for making threats on here. Craig, what was the one about the child endangerment? Because I thought that was pretty good. You remember?
Yeah, they have a portal for child endangerment. So, and they also work with law enforcement and not CPS, but an agency that's like CPS. So if there's any type of like kids that are in stress on the app, stuff like that, they can report it and get that situated as well. That's all within the Clubhouse Transparency Report, yeah.
Right, so I don't mean necessarily selling all data. I'm just using a broad term. But I think that the law enforcement agencies, maybe the FBI, maybe even the CIA.
Means
right?
number 8, infinity.
Studies, right? It could be a number of things they're paying
above
for.
And below.
Well, Jazzy, let me ask you this, and maybe Craig can answer this, because I'm intrigued by this. So let's say one of these lunatics, like remember when Donald Trump got shot in Pennsylvania, and there was 1,000 rumors about Donald Trump being shot, and I heard people saying I would shoot him myself, I hate them, and blah blah, all that bullshit. So when you threaten the president, the Secret Service is supposed to look into you. Do you think they did something like that?
No. I think it's more so. For example, when we first got on the app, you remember Dr. Responsible Ricky? This black girl named, I forget her name, but she came and told me, and she was dead ass serious. I don't care what anyone says. She says, I work for the FBI, and we've been investigating Trump supporters, and Ricky is an alt-right pipeline to school shooters. I was like, what?
That's a crazy statement.
It's a very crazy statement, but there were people that I heard in other rooms that totally disagreed with the shit we said, but they would go into the rooms that we were in, the Trump rooms, and be on the side of, like, the Republicans. And I was like, this is weird as fuck. These people have got to be doing some type of social experiment.
I was thinking, like, NSA collection for sure, you know what I mean? Like, this would be, like, a great, like, NSA collection, kind of, especially geographically.
Right.
So many different people from, like, different
That's
states.
why the government probably buys the data, because it's like a new cryptology communication, just like Bitcoin. I mean, this thing's probably funded by Inkitel, but the point is, some billionaire owns this. I don't know if it's that Mark Benioff, but I heard somebody in a room talking about it, and I could try to Google it, but everything's just hearsay.
Yeah, but like it's pretty simple, right? Because I deal in this type of business as well, right? Where they, like, Jay, they ask you to upload your contacts, right? Just, to organize your contact list. So they know everybody that's in your contact list. They know what you say because it's transcribed. They know if you put it on your profile, like your Instagram and your Twitter. So they can make all those connections, and they know all the keywords that you say and the people that you interact with, and those people, what they say, so they can better serve, ads and sell you things.
Man, they have the biggest database of Jew hate on the internet.
Jew hate. I mean, everybody hates Jews.
Yeah, they have also the biggest database of black hate. You remember Cardano and all
biggest, but
everyone hates each other on this app. Yeah, diaspora wars.
I like everyone.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that James Bondy. Like, you know what I mean? Because
you're making it James. Hold on.
All the keywords you say, and they know
you can, but you're making it James Bondy when I said they were doing social experiments. That's not a James Bondy type of thing.
No, I'm not going against anything that you're saying, Chaz. I'm not talking about what you're saying. I was going to say something different. I was going to say, let's keep it simple. Think about when the app first came out. A person in your real life had to invite, because I remember a person was saying that, based on what you're saying, they can know your race or the rooms that you're going to. They know exactly who you are, because the social, they already know they know everybody's network already, because when you first join the app, a person has to literally invite you, right? So like my cousin, my real life cousin invited me. So just because my cousin invited me, they already know my race because my cousin invited me. Talk much less of like the crowd that you hang around or the things that you say. I think that the data that they're using is just to make more money, just in general. And then if the police have a problem with something, they just give up the information. You know what I'm saying?
But John, who do they sell the data to?
So there's an article.
Anyone would buy it. Anyone would buy it.
If you were in, one second, if you were in Craig's room that he did, law enforcement agencies have access directly to recorded rooms. They don't have to subpoena. They can, right? But I think that there are some law enforcement agencies that are paying for data.
No, but the thing is that the NSA is already spying on us.
Yeah, but the NSA is separate
and they made the internet.
Hold on. Craig's already went over all of this. You haven't. The NSA is not the people be quiet. You're bringing up an entity that has no dealings in what we're talking about. There are triple letter agencies and police departments from America, and I think India was another major country. They are buying data from Clubhouse. Why are you bringing up the NSA?
They tie all the things together. It gives
So
them
why
a
you
better.
bringing up the NSA though?
Everybody hold on. Everybody hold on. I just want to say, Jazz.
DANGA. That's why IQT sells pit.
Yes.
So I just want to say, when you said to him, be quiet, you brought the mom out. Go ahead.
I know. I'm sorry. It's spring break. I'm with you.
Listen, you got to separate the business from the law enforcement aspect of this app. The business conversation is the bigger conversation.
Yeah,
that's
the
where the
business
money
conversation is the bigger conversation to me because
The money is in marketing and advertising. That's what
is doing more work in the private industry because the state already has the technology to do everything that we're already saying that they're doing with the Clubhouse data before Clubhouse even existed. So I'm saying yes, I agree with you. And I'm not saying but, I'm saying and. Wait, my love. I'm saying yes and.
You don't know how to have a dialogue. You don't have to lecture us. Hold on, you can speak when I like we
I
can
know,
back
but
and
you're
forth.
just interrupting me.
Oh yeah, I am. That's what happens on Clubhouse. We're not here to go to school. We want to hear you talk.
I'm not trying to lecture.
Okay, so long story short, no one's disagreeing or agreeing with you. I don't know why you're whining right now, right? You're just saying something that we don't. I don't understand. Who's next?
That's what I was trying to repeat so we can understand because it seems like you misunderstand. That's the reason what I'm do.
Yeah, how are they make? Where are the ads? How are they making money on
Well,
ads?
you're seeing the ads every time you go on the internet, but you just don't.
Well, the website and
You're not
everything
seeing it out here.
sells
You're seeing it
money
other
off of
places.
ads.
Wait, hold on,
But their
hold on,
information that they're gathering is being sold to like third-party services that sell it back to the government. Like they basically do their spying for them.
Okay, so then maybe another buyer could be foreign intelligence agencies.
Sure.
Yeah,
that could definitely be a buyer. Yeah.
So here,
and that's like one of the biggest ones.
But Amazon would love to know all the stuff you talk about.
Hello.
Like
Yeah,
one of our
David,
friends in a different room.
David, please, because I'm tired of the opinion. Clubhouse makes money from paid events, brand partnerships, potential subscription models, Clubhouse payments, and Clubhouse takes nothing. The creator receives 100% of all payments. So Clubhouse doesn't make money any way that a normal app does. Not through paid advertisements, not through anything. And what is a paid event?
I'll get the Wired article.
Events where users can pay to access exclusive
They work with
content.
data brokers. That's the back end business. That's just their fucking spiel on their website.
Yeah, I was gonna say so we were talking in a room earlier about somebody who's moving, and they were talking about needing to get rid of their couch, right? So keywords: who's moving, he needs a couch. So that information is just as transcription is sent to Amazon ad platform as an example. So I was like, okay, this person who we know already, because the phone number's in the database, so we know who the person is.
Oh God!
It's tied to an Amazon account, so we're gonna serve him couches next time he comes on Amazon, as an example.
Right, but that's not what happens here, David. I'm sorry. So, for example, someone said earlier the NSA has technology already. Yeah, but they didn't have the space where we were anonymous and we could talk about different things that are going on freely, right? Because
the data that Clubhouse
I'm not done. Believe it or not, people restrict themselves when they're normally speaking. This is an app I think that made people talk about way more than they ever have. I'm also looking online right now. It says that Clubhouse receives no money. The money that it receives is solely from its investors.
Oh my God. So
I'm trying to ask you, hold on one second. Anyone in here that runs a business, why would you keep investing in something that brings you not a dime back in return?
But that's not even the reality. He just told you how else they make money.
No. I'm asking, can you be quiet? You've never ran a business. You work for people. So as a business owner, why in the hell would I keep investing in something that brings me not a dime back?
No, this is our six trouble.
I know.
I was saying, you know how they stream and do different.
Okay, that's my morning podcast. Hope everybody enjoyed it. 2 hours long. There we go.